Hello. Ordinarily, on a Thursday today, I would be walking back from training, or probably have arrived back by now, and perhaps I would have recorded a video to say how amazing training was and so on. But this week, I didn't do a training session on Tuesday, today I cancelled. Tuesday, I went to the cash machine to get cash out to pay the trainer, and the machine swallowed my card. I stood there having exchanges with the security guard at Sainsbury's and with the gentleman from Loomis who was filling the machine with cash. So it was because the machine was being filled with cash. There was not a notice on the cash machine to take this out of order. So I put my card in, and it wasn't so much that my time was consumed standing around having conversation, trying to get my card back. But that time had passed, and I was on a deadline. I hadn't even contemplated whether or not I should go to training, but I decided I would go. And because the way things work, you have to make effort before God will put his effort in, if you like. So you get nothing unless you show willingness, unless you put yourself forward. But I do know as a fact that I was never meant to train on Tuesday, because that would have taken energy from me that I needed to put into the task ahead of me, which was 2 3-meter 3-meter long curtains, handmade, and 8 net panels, voile panels. Right, so that was the task I had ahead of me. So I recognized, it was too late for me to start training because I was going to consume part of my morning, so I didn't. And then, long story short, what I was working on was going to be collected this morning at 7 o'clock, 7:30. And I needed to have everything ready. But in doing so, I didn't get to bed until 5 o'clock this morning. Because I figured I was working, because I needed the carer to help me to fold. So she's my helping hand. So I needed her to help me to fold. And I wouldn't have been able to fold them myself anyway. But sod's law, she turned up later than normal, because I thought she would get there. I'd be able to sleep for an hour and a half before the customer came to collect, but it didn't work out like that. So I ended up not being able to sleep at all. And so after he collected, I then went to sleep with the intention that if I wake up with enough time to go training, then I would. But I woke up at 8 minutes to 9, and my training session starts at 9. So I contacted the trainer. He's a really good guy. So he understood. And I just basically said to him that I had to cancel today's session because I've got deadlines for Tuesday. What I've got to do next is being collected on Tuesday. And I know it would catch up on me if I've not slept. And then I sort of have to go from today right through till Monday night. I don't know that I would have the energy to do it. And so it makes sense to me to like I said, if I'd slept and woken up in time to go training, then I would have done that. But obviously I didn't. So, I mean, had I woken up naturally without having to set the alarm, then I know I would have had enough sleep. But it didn't work out that way. So instead, I'm now going to pick up whatever my sister needs to keep her going until Tuesday. And for myself, I need to do a cleanse. So I need to sort of do whatever I need to do to get back to training on Tuesday. Yeah, just to basically pick up where I left off from. That said, there's one thing that I need to say as regards respecting people's time. But I'll do that in a separate video. But I've just told you how busy I've been. And I'm just going to give you an example. In fact, let me just do it now, because it ties in with what I'm saying. On the way back on Tuesday, a man stopped me. I'm very polite, and I've got a history. I always say hello to people when our paths cross. So this guy, workman, was walking towards me, going past, and we greeted one another. And he asked me if you can guess where he comes from, if we can be friends. And I said, no, why, what for, I've got enough friends kind of thing, that's what I normally say. But then we stood there talking for a couple of minutes, and he seemed interesting. His life story seemed interesting. I asked him, don't you have a wife? How comes you don't have a wife? And he kind of put his head down and said, he'll get one when he's ready. But then he went on to reveal that his wife died. He was raising his son, and who's now 11. And his wife died when his son was 3, so he's raising him by himself. So I thought, well, I like to talk to people who are interesting. So I gave him, we exchanged numbers basically. And I said, yeah, we can talk anytime. And when I say talk, I mean on the phone. So he said maybe sometime we can go out to eat or for a drink or something. So I said to him, I don't have time, and bear in mind what I've just said. So, a long story short, he, by the time I'd got back, he'd already called me, sent me a message, and I didn't respond because I was working, or I was preparing myself to work, right? So then, later on he sent me a message. Oh, no, actually I explained to him that I'm looking after my sister as well as working and everything else. So he, that went in one ear and out, obviously. So interested as I was in his life story, I simply switched off when I received the message saying it would be good if I could find some time and we can go to the pub. He named which pub, and we can sit down and talk. Now, to me, that is the height of disrespect. You don't respect the fact that I say I'm busy. You don't respect the fact that I said I'm looking after my sister. And, I'll say specifically for men, because I'm not into women. In fact, I don't keep friendships with women. I was saying that to a friend on Facebook yesterday. I only keep friendship with women remotely. So I keep doing this whenever I'm recording. I never show my beautiful skin. Anyway, yeah, so my face rather. So I keep contact with women remotely. But like with guys, obviously if you're going on a date, you have to meet. But like I said, this guy was more interested in his life story and, respect to him for raising his son by himself. But then when you've heard that I'm busy and you've heard that I'm looking after my sister and you want me to find time to come and sit with you in the pub to talk, I lose respect for you. If I don't respect, I lose it completely. And so this is, later on I posted on Facebook. I made a post and I said I'm doomed to walk this earth alone. Because I appreciate that I've got hyper exaggerated standards when it comes to people, but I'm allowed to have those standards because I'm not somebody who needs people. If I needed people, it would be a completely different matter. So as regards men, for me, I will sooner do without than compromise. So, but the point being, you can tell, there are people who say, oh, you can't tell what people are like because they change. But let's just say I was interested in that man romantically. He's already shown me who he is. He doesn't respect my time. He doesn't respect what my opinion. Sorry, not my opinion. He doesn't respect what is important to me. He doesn't respect my deadlines. He doesn't respect the fact that I'm looking after my sister. So I can imagine what life with such a man would be like. There was one other thing on Facebook that was over the weekend. There's somebody I know from karaoke, black guy, he's about 6'3" tall, big, built like a bouncer, and yet so timid. So I was joking around because there's lots of people deleting me from Facebook. Like I think probably nearly 150, if not that by now, over the course of like 4 days, 3 days, 4 days. So my sense of humor, it's hard to tell it unless I say that I'm joking. So I kept every now and then, oh my gosh, 10 more have left the building, and I was just sort of like making jokes like that. So he hadn't been on my page for, I would say, 2 years, and he popped up. And he was very rude to one of my friends, a young man from India. And he just jumped on a post that we were exchanging on mutually and said to the young man, stop groveling. So in his mind, he's got this thing that I only want people on my Facebook page or in my life who agree with me. So anyway, one thing led to another, and I don't swear, but I will write it. I told him to F off because he came and he was telling me about all my good qualities. You're such a nice person because I've met you and this and that. Praise. But you've got a dark side and you fat shame evil. He's fat. And you this and you that. And I thought, my gosh, what a sorry excuse for a man. So I had to block him. I had to put him out of his misery and block him. You see, so when it comes to men, I have very high, it's not so much demands, but I have very high standards. So I've never been married, I don't have any children and so forth. But when you're the kind of person who doesn't need people, you can function perfectly well. Like I'm out here shopping now. Yes, I need to pick up some items for myself, but mostly it's for my sister. It's because I don't intend to come back outside until Tuesday when I go training. But when you don't need people, you can make demands on your time, on whatever, anything that you have in your life that's important. You don't have to see them if you don't want to. You don't have to address them, to engage with them if you don't want to. You don't have to have anything to do with them if you don't want to. So like I said, I did find that guy quite interesting based on his circumstances. But I would never respond to his phone calls or his messages based on the fact that he didn't respect what I told him. He went in one ear and out the other. So it's not like I need people to respect me or anything. People are entitled to feel how they want to feel. But damned if, especially with men, I cannot respect men who don't respect themselves. Women are a different thing because I don't mix with them. Like I said, I deal with them remotely. But a man must have self-respect. He must know how to conduct himself. Otherwise, I won't respect him. There are times when I've stated that it's a shame that I'm more man, and there's nothing manly about me than the men who register an interest. These are sad times, but this is the reality. So my small hands are freezing. So I'm just going to, I think it's minus, well, it began at -3. I don't know what it is. It's supposed to go up to 3 degrees or something like that today. I don't know, like it's ice cold. So I'm going to go and do the shopping. I think I've had enough sleep, and then I'm going to go back and begin my next deadline. So you look after yourselves and have a lovely day. Take care. Bye-bye.